So today I'm going to be making some minced lamb plate pies. The recipe for the meat, I'm actually using some leftovers from my previous video, the minted lamb and peas. Works absolutely fantastic, and pastry does this. Well, I think anything goes in pastry really, to be honest with you, but this is absolutely delicious as a plate pie. Target temperature for this is roughly going to be about 150 degrees Celsius, 300 degrees Fahrenheit. As you'll notice though, I've only got it about 130 Celsius, 275 Fahrenheit, and that's because the lid's going to be open for an extended period of time, which is going to stoke the fire up more, and it's just to compensate for that so it doesn't overshoot too much. So while that water is coming up to temperature, I'm just going to put some wood chips in just to smoke it. I don't want a really strong smoky flavour here and overpower that pastry and the filling, so I've gone with quite a tall pan. This will protect it from some of that smoke. It does get some in there. However, if I wanted more smokiness, I would just use one of those smaller aluminium trays. It's a lot more smokiness into that. I know you could use a little bit less on the wood smoking chips, but if I put any less in, there's a chance that they'll just burn out before the water is even in the Kamado. I will also link in the description the original recipe that I used for the pastry. It's from another YouTube channel, and he made some absolutely fantastic recipes. If you want a more in-depth tutorial on this pastry, then I'd highly suggest checking that YouTube channel out. So at this point, I'm just going to put these in the fridge. You can put them in for about half an hour. What's advised, really, at least half an hour. This will allow them just to come down and get even cooler because they are pretty warm. In this case though, I actually did them overnight because it was quite late on in the afternoon when I made them. If you do it overnight, you need to pull them out of the fridge well in advance, a good 2 hours at least in advance to try and bring them up. They're also quite brittle as well, as you can see. They just break apart, so you know it's virtually impossible to roll them, and it feels like you've messed it up and gone wrong. However, just roll them into a ball and just keep working them with your hands, and the warmth of your hands will eventually get them back to that nice doughy state where you can roll them out without them cracking apart. When you're filling the pies up, don't overfill them right to the very rim, just leave a little bit of a gap. This allows the steam to circulate a little bit and also escape. If you ram them up, usually you end up getting leaks out of the top. So now that the pie is crimped and sealed all the way around, I just need to put a couple of slits in the top just to allow that steam to escape. At this stage they are ready for baking. Alternatively, you can chuck them in the freezer though and do them another day. If you do decide to freeze them, I would bake them from frozen, but double check that they are cooked all the way through. I like to use an instant read thermometer into the slits so it doesn't look like you've prodded loads of holes if you've checking it a few times over. I'm just going to brush the tops of the pies now with some egg wash. This is just simply to try and brown them a little bit. So to begin with, I'm going to put the pies in really low on the lowest cooking level, and this is just to get that burst of heat and that radiant heat from those ceramic deflectors, just to make sure that the bottom is baked really nicely. After about 20 minutes, these are looking really good. However, just to stop the risk of burning those bottoms too much, I'm going to raise the grid up higher so it's away from that radiant heat, and it's just going to be the natural convection of the air. Also, the dome of the Kamado can help radiate heat downwards and bake it more from the top. Take a look at them ones now. They're absolutely fantastic, them. Pastry was a little bit thick, but that's just because I'm not very good at rolling pastry out. I would like to try and get them a little bit thinner next time, but I like pastry, so I'm not complaining too much. Let's see what they're like inside now. Cooked really nicely, not too dry and crumbly, and definitely baked underneath as well, which is always a concern. Look at that inside there now. It doesn't actually look that thick, the pastry from this, but it was quite thick when I was actually eating it. Being a plate pie and the filling being thinned out more, I think it could do with a little bit thinner, if you do go thinner, that is. Before I plated these up, I was thinking 1 pie per person would be a great lunch meal. Honestly, I think partially because of the thickness of the pastry, half a pie for one person in this case would be more than enough, especially if you're having it with other things as well. So that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully if anyone was to make these pies, give us a shout how they turned out. Thanks for watching, and hopefully see you again.